Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday. You've joined us for the last day of our webinar series, which is on your brand strategy for China. Today, we're going to be talking about what will be your brand strategy in 2021. And I've got Olivier on today, who is going to be highlighting a lot of things about strategy as well as budgeting. And then I'm going to lead off the end of the session with a little bit of a coaching session on 7 things to bring you forward in 2021. But before we begin today's session, I just want to know a little bit about the audience. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you can hear me, because Olivier is having problems to hear me, if you can hear me, could you just click on the hand button in your control panel? Fantastic. Thank you, Andre. I appreciate that. I just want to make sure. Okay, Olivier can hear me now. Fantastic. Thank you, Olivier. I've muted you, Olivier, so just so you're aware. All right, guys. So just to get started, and again, I know you guys have been doing this for 4 days in a row, but this is really for Olivier's benefit because I have told him that there's a real mix of B2C as well as B2B, and he has catered to that in his presentation today. But it would be great for people to just highlight who they are again. So again, if you can, for the 5th day in a row, let us know. Are you a newbie to China? Meaning you've never transacted with China before, but you see that there is a great opportunity, and you are looking for ways to enter the market, protect your business, and gain kind of strategy ideas. If you are a startup in China, this usually means you've transacted with China for a period of 1 to 3 years. You may already have an entity in China. So let us know if you have transacted by just typing in startup. If you are an experienced China hand, let us know. We're always looking to gain fresh ideas in terms of how to do business better, or even go into new sales channels, which can very much lead from digital to e-commerce. So let us know if you are an experienced China hand. So for Olivier's benefit, I'm just going to read out some of the feedback we've gotten. We've got Andre, who's a newbie, and I know Andre's B2C. We've got Louisa, who's a newbie, Mustafa, who's a newbie, Mustafa's a B2B, Mike, who's a startup, and Hari is an experienced. And we've also got William, who is a startup as well. We've got Alicia, who's also a startup. All right, guys, if you can keep on typing, that would be amazing. Otherwise, I think that gives us an idea in regards to the audience, and at least gives Olivier a bit of an idea as well. How the web works is the following. Olivier and I are here to teach and educate you guys. So this is going to be about 60 minutes of presentation time. Because it'll be Olivier speaking and me kind of summing up and recapping the whole week's worth of activities. So we will probably run over the 60-minute time frame, but we are here to educate and teach you. This is a valuable time of your spend, and we realize that. So please do use it wisely. You will get the most out of today's session if you do communicate with both Olivier and I in the questions section of the control panel. As today, our promise to you is that we will stay on the line in order to answer all of your questions. And again, if you want to have one-to-one sessions with Olivier or one-to-one sessions with me, you can absolutely do that and reach out, and I'll provide those details both in the chat section and questions section of the control panel. From a technical standpoint, again, I don't own GoToWebinar platform. It's just the platform I have chosen. It's the most simplest platform to perform webinars on. If you guys run into technical issues, just know that the easiest thing to do is log off and log back into the system. If you still run into issues, then just know we are recording today's session, and that will be put up on our YouTube channel by the end of the day. If Olivier runs into issues, I've got Olivier on Wechat. I'll be able to communicate with him to see what's happening on his end. But Olivier, just for your reference, worst case scenario, log out, log back in, and that should work fine. The same for me. If I run into any issues, it does take me about 30 seconds to 1 minute to reboot. And again, I'll be coming back on to finish today's session. So let me just reiterate the experts of the week. First of all, my name is Christina Kohler-Colucci. I'm the head of business advisory at Woodburn Accountants and Advisors. I'm also the moderator for today's session. We are not putting webcams on today for the main reason that many of you are still working from home, and I do know that you have a lack of bandwidth. So we want to make sure that at least the content is there and you can hear us speak, so that we minimize basically the issues that might run with doing webinars online. If you have joined our webinars before and you don't know much about me, I'm one of the leading experts on inbound investment into China. I've got 17 years of corporate services and corporate clients experience, and I'm normally based out of Shanghai, but currently confined out of Luxembourg due to COVID. I help companies with their strategy developments into China as well as into Hong Kong. I help companies with their implementation of either structures or transactions. And the most fun part of the job for me is really to focus on the company's growth in China. And I'm a creator of the China Roadmap methodology, which is a webinar I perform every single month highlighting what that methodology is. And really, it's a webinar giving you all of the bullet points that you need to know when managing your business in China. There will be a webinar in February on that. Stay tuned for that in our upcoming display on our website. Just to recap this week's webinars, before Olivier starts his presentation today, we had Matt on Tuesday talking all about storytelling, mascots, product design, and how that can all relate to your entry into China. On Wednesday, we had Wendy, who was talking about all things digital marketing, everything apps and what you need to know. Then yesterday we had Ariel, who did a fantastic presentation on the synchronization of marketing together with the e-commerce trends. And today I've got Olivier on, who's going to be talking also about strategy development together with budgeting and using case studies basically to highlight all of that. If you have missed the webinars and you weren't able to watch all the webinars this week, they are already up on our YouTube channel. For ease of access, subscribe to it. And you can really important to give you an overview of what it means to have a brand strategy in China. Turn it over to Olivier. I'm just going to, 1 second. Olivier, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello, Christina. Can you hear me? Yes, no, no.
Perfect. I'm just going to give you the controls. And if you accept those, then we can see your screen.
Okay, so wait a minute, I'm just opening the document. So first, hello everybody, my name is Olivier Verot.
Olivier, we cannot see your screen yet. You need to accept it, the control.
Okay.
Did you get that? Or let me give it back to myself and I'll give it back to you. 1 second.
No, it should be okay.
Can you try now?
Can you see it?
There we go. Yes, we can. Perfect.
So, hello everybody, my name is Olivier, I'm the founder of JMA. So I think Christina introduced myself pretty well. I think I've been in China for 15 years, managing a marketing agency for 8 years, 9 years already. And today I'm going to share with you some different market strategy with different level of price and budget for you to basically understand and always like illustrate with some case study, concrete case, basically how it works. What we have learned from so many years and with so many clients, it's like basically branding is a key in China. It's a key for distributions, it's a key for the e-commerce to sell, it's a key for lead generations. It's a key a little bit for everything because branding, it's your trust. So once Chinese people trust you, then basically they can buy from you, they can do business with you. But without trust, you're like unknown and nothing really works. So as I explained in this graph, for a new brand, it's actually complicated. It's challenging in China. If you're a big brand, if you're L'Oreal, if you have big, if it's everything is easy. Everything is easy because consumer know you, customer trust you. Whatever you do, people want to do business with you. People want to give the shop rental for free. So everything is really good. Everybody want to work with you. But when you're totally new, it's complicated. It's complicated because you don't get this trust. So we have been working with a lot of like new brands in China for this 8 years. And what we know, it's like we first always focus on reputations. Reputation is like what people are telling about you. So instead of like telling that you are basically the best, we recommend to really work with media influencers or in some forums to let people speak good words about you because that's what people will check. So concretely how it works. You're a new brand, you're speaking to distributors, people they say yes, yes, and after they do their homework, and what homework they do, they just search on social media, on Baidu, on the others, what other people say about you. If they say nothing, nothing will happen. If they say bad thing, nothing will happen. And if they see good things, it might happen something. So first work on reputations, and reputation is online first in China. After you can develop your first distributions, your first partners, that's okay. If you have good reputation, it can work. Only after this, we recommend to boost awareness, brand awareness. So brand awareness is like how many people know you, or if how many people see you, something like that. And the problem with awareness is like it costs a lot of money, really a lot of money. So if you want to target on all China, you need to bring your billions dollar. I don't think guys you have $1 billion to invest, so it need to be go there step by step. After you have a minimum awareness, you can develop more distributor, more sales channels, engage with more customer, and basically go into e-commerce or whatever. This is usually the solution that we do for you to understand e-reputations, SEO on Baidu, KOL, ads, social media, brand EPR, or e-commerce distributions to sell. So basically, they are the different step for you to understand the different stuff that you need to understand as a marketing. I didn't put offline because I think for new brands, it's better to go online first. Offline, you can do some event. I know some brands to create some stuff like this, but I think most of the strategy before COVID, but we explained it's okay, but after this COVID year, it's obvious that China is a digital first country. Think you already have seen basically a lot of introduction of the other people to explain you like how important is social media in China. So I will pass about this. I just explain you like all the social media in China are always about this kind of process. Number one, you always need to open an official account because if it's not official, people will not trust you and make the settings to have the website look good. Number two, it's always to define a social strategy and the target. A social strategy is like why people should follow me. I think a lot of people forget this step, but it's crucial. And the target. What will I get with this account? I want followers. I want people. I want to share discounts. I want just an informative account. I want an account that can nurturing my customer. So all of this need to be defined in advance. After it's about posting content always every day. So basically it's a kind of like this everybody know. I think in China, community management is also a lot of work. It's mean like replying to comments or interact with other accounts. It's also important, or in the group, something like that. On WeChat, you can see a lot. Never forget the promotion on the account, because if you just post the content and don't promote, you don't get fans. It's not magic. And after, always measure the results to see what is going good, what is doing bad, and after adapt the strategy. What is important, I think, and what all the newcomers and brands need to care, is about the word of mouth and internet word of mouth. I won. So concretely, what it is, it's about the comments of potential people, potential partners, potential customer and customer. So this, it's basically the key. That's the key of the e-reputations. What your customer think about you. So where these people check this comment, they will check on e-commerce platform, on Tmall, of course. They will also check a lot we see on comments on forums, especially with the new brands. And in China, you have a lot of Q&A websites from Baidu Jedao or Zhihu. This kind of like platform, it's like people asking questions. What do you think about this new brand? Blah, blah, blah. And people reply, okay, it's good, it's nice. So this you really need to care about. And also we can see that there is also some forums where you have some discussion about people, and basically like people can also check about these informations. So this can be basically influenced by, when you do social media, by engaging customer and invite them to basically to post testimonials, put good words about you. Other way to influence your online reputation is with the media, the online media mainly. I think if you are doing to do like the offline media or the magazines, but it's I think it's very expensive, and it's have a very low impact. But if you do online, what is good is like when people search information about you, they will find articles about you in great media, and you will get this trust, because Chinese people also check information to not be cheated. And if you are mentioned in a good and famous media, it means that you are a serious company. So that's basically the purpose of this. How we do it? We select the media where we want to basically publish. So we take some media, main media with some specific sections. So for example, if you're a fashion brand, we will take basically Soho, but we will publish in like fashion Soho, the section about fashions. It can be specialized media, it can be very targeted media, it can be media for example, targeting girls. So we make a selection of media. Then we create a press release, okay, in Chinese, not commercial, interesting, informative. And after, like, we manage the publication, so you need to contact some journalists in China. And usually, if you want to have more chance to get publication, you need to give a hongbao. So what is a hongbao for the people who don't know? It's basically a red envelope with money inside. So it's kind of like public posting, and basically that's how usually press release works in China. And after like you manage this kind of like promotion, you measure the result. And what we also do that can be good is like to highlight this press release, so is to share this promotion, this media basically articles in social media, in other forums, to create a little bit more variety of the post. I think the other people have explained to you a little bit the importance of influencer in China. This is just a pyramid of like a different level of influencers. You have the star, who costs basically a lot of money, but in China it's really a lot of money. You can go to like millions of dollars. You have the key opinion leader, who are really the key. There is usually few per industry. After, there is opinion leaders, so a lot of people would just like, you know, post about one topic or post about their lifestyle. Most of the time you have what we call influencers, people who can influence. And after, we have the micro influencers, who have a small community but who are basically very cheap. So for us, we like micro influencer a lot, especially at the beginning, because all of these people can give testimonials and they are not very expensive. And if for a new brand, a small brands, KOL, big KOL, and top stars, basically you cannot afford. So it's better to put your money first on other things. If you are 3 years, 4 years, 5 years in China and you need to go to the next level, maybe a star or KOL can help you. But at the beginning, it's not really this case. I think Christina invited me to speak about budget. So here we go. Let's take an example of the first case. It's about a small brand, very small brand, and you have a small budget. Because if you have $20,000 in China, it's a very small budget. So it means that need to go in niche. You have no choice. You need to go in niche. You need to focus on one social media, not too many, and you need to target really a very specific targeted community. So it's basically will take a lot of your basically efforts and your time. So if you choose, for example, to go to Wechat, because your users are basically on Wechat, this is basically you need to join groups, you need to make publications, and it's better to focus on one thing and doing it good than on everything and basically doing almost nothing. What is really important for you as a small brand as well is to really care about your reputation, especially the first 4 months at the beginning. That's basically vital. If you don't have this, nothing will happen. And to spend like 20% of your budget to have a nice website or a brochure, any brochure on WeChat can be also good to show something nice. So yeah, that's basically what you can do with a small budget. You can do it in-house or with an agency, it's whatever, but the budget are almost the same. And after, if you get lucky, you can go to the next step by finding a distributors that can invest more or making your first contract that can basically like deblock you some bigger budget. Case study, we have worked for Ethnic Craft. So Ethnic Craft, Ethnic Craft, you need to understand a little bit, it's a furniture company, it's a furniture brand. And they decided to open a shop of furniture in Shanghai, but not in the expensive shopping mall, but in basically in the old factory, something like that. And they decided to invest in a little bit in digital to attract people in this old factory that they're making nice to basically to get clients. So the strategy was very niche. It's only focused on Shanghai. People who like, I would like to say, good quality furniture with a not expensive price, and that basically want to visit a shop and to have a little bit a special feeling. So we create a nice website based on the website that they have, and is defined for lead generations and attract basically clients. Because when you buy a table or when you buy something that it costs 20,000 RMB to 50,000 RMB, basically people don't buy like this. Usually they would like to see it first. So the strategy was to get the attraction of people and to have meeting to their store. So we just have done a Baidu SEO campaign. So we take this website, optimized for Baidu. Basically, the strategy is to put a lot of backlink on the website to appear on a lot of different kind of like keywords, especially niche keywords, or especially the keywords that they want to have, like cost-effective furniture, basically brand in Shanghai, or where can I buy teak in Shanghai? Teak is a kind of like special wood that people will search, or very specific things. After, like when people find the website, they will first have a look about the reputations. Are people happy? So we make sure that people find very good information about this brand. We do WeChat. WeChat was mainly for nurturing. So basically, when the people come, 70% of them buy something, which is basically really good, really good. So it means that when people decided to take a meeting, they spend like 30 minutes, 40 minutes with the sales speak to them, and at the end they buy something. And for the people who didn't buy, basically they can follow the WeChat and get opportunity to buy later, or like not for now but for later. So the result for this campaign, for example, was 40 meetings per month, so which was basically very good at the beginning. And if you take like 70% of basically close rate, so it means that they get 25 to 30 basically clients per month, which is basically very good for a furniture basically shop, because even like big shopping mall in Shanghai, people can get 2-5 clients per month. So it was basically the beginning of this story for Ethnic Craft. And after this strategy, we've kept these clients for many years and increasing the other social media because they are developing themselves, their sales. So basically they can reinvest more. Basically for us, I don't know about the other, but we don't recommend to put a lot of money at the beginning to the launch. We are a little bit conservative, we are practical, and we really believe in the step-by-step approach. So first, develop your reputations, understand the consumer, build something, and then basically develop a little bit your distributions, understand your customer, and after when you all of this, then you can basically invest massively in the brand awareness, as I explained. So for a medium brand, 100,000 euro per year, so it's a little bit like 10,000 euro per month. It start to be really not bad, I think, and we can really do something. With 20,000 euro, 30,000 euro, it's a little bit tight. I mean, you need to have some luck and you need to basically like really target on the right things. But with 20,000, with 100,000 euro per year, you can basically have 25% of the social media and basically work on 2 social media. So you can work on WeChat, Weibo, or Weibo Red, or Weibo and Douyin, I don't know. But focus on 2. I think it's a good strategy. To do that, you can also like do the promotion, so have more budget for actively promoted basically your account. So if you choose, for example, Douyin, or if you choose, for example, Weibo, you can basically sponsor your post. You can appear in the middle of the feed, and this can really significantly increase your results because it's give a lot of exposure. 15% on e-reputations, especially the first 6 months, because it's basically crucial. So it's basically work with Q&A, it's work with the media, it's work with influencer to build your credibility, to have people test your product, to get testimonials. That's really, really important at the beginning. 10% Baidu plus SEO, not much, but we still believe it's important because like a brand without website and a brand cannot be found on Baidu, it's a little bit weird. So don't be weird and have something that it can be on you. And 10% also to have some few KOLs. Problem with KOL is like it costs a lot of money. So 10% at the beginning, the first year is good. The second year, when you have better things, you can increase. But at the beginning, better to be conservative. And 30% to develop for example, your e-commerce channels, and you only focus on one. So if you choose, you only focus on JD or Tmall or whatever, but just focus on one because you are still medium. So be targeted. We have worked for this brand, Vitabiotics. It's a British brand. So we take them at year 2. The year 1, I think it was they choose other people. And after year 2, we work with them and really have a big boost for them on Weibo and WeChat, especially on Weibo. Actually, Weibo was really, really a big boom. They get really good reputations. Just to give you an example, it's 100 media coverage for 1 year, 1,000 positive reviews. So it's really give to the brand really big boost. What you need to understand about this, it's like Vitabiotics are selling health supplements and basically like vitamins. So basically when people have problems, they feel tired something, they will choose something and they will hesitate between different brands. Okay, so usually reputations, comment of the other make the difference. It's also about trust because you are taking something, for example, if you have a pregnant lady and this lady, or if some people have some problem to, I don't know, to getting pregnant. So all of these people will spend a lot of time searching information online, mainly on Baidu because it's made about health. And these people, they will really check about different product, different offer because, okay, when you buy something and you eat something, you don't want, especially in China, you don't want something bad. So you check every information about brands. So basically the result was like after 1 year, they increased a lot their sales, about 150%. And we worked with them for 5 years, for 3 to 4 years, sorry. And after year 5, what we see, it's like the brand really we get a really big tractions. So the success is not in one night, and it's really year after years. It takes time to build brands, but VB becomes top 5 brands for vitamin and health supplement on Tmall Global, because people basically mainly buy vitamins and health supplement on Tmall Global. And after that, they make a strategic partnership with Alibaba and Tmall, where they mainly sell on Tmall. Alibaba gives them a lot of traffic, a lot of things. They get 1,000 Daigou basically reseller, and today basically VB is doing really, really well in China. It's a cash cow. China is making a lot of money for them, and they are really, really happy. But it's not an overnight success. And yes, just to confirm, it's like the year 2, they can spend a little bit more than 100,000 US dollar per year. But after, the more you develop, the more you sell, the more basically you increase the budget to get more exposure. Because first is a battle of reputations, but once your reputation is good, basically the next battle is about the exposure and traffic. Because on e-commerce, everything is made of traffic. How many people go to your store, how many people see you, how many people are we can become basically like your potential clients. Another case, it's about ambitious brand, more than $250,000 to $500,000. It's about working on free social media accounts, so Red, Wechat, Weibo, or Red Doing, and I don't know, like Xiaohongshu, for example. You choose, or usually like expert people like advise you what to do. It's really depends on your industry. For example, if you are targeting for girls, I think people have told you Little Red Book is very popular. But if you are targeting more for men, for example, Totia can be a good strategy. Totia, it's about a news feed, or for example, Weibo can also be not bad. If you are, for example, targeting for the young people, Douyin can be really good. If you are targeting for different target, have different stuff on social media. You can also, if you're ambitious, focus a little bit on video content, because I believe that is the future. Basically, like creating video content, it's a little bit more audacious, it's a little bit more complicated, but on the long-term run, I believe that it's better. Yes, if you are small, creating video content, it's a little bit complicated because it will take a lot of your time and your resource. But if you're ambitious, you have to do it. You have to be more innovative. After spend 10% on the reputation plus setup, okay, setup plus website plus everything. And this is a difference, is basically spend more time and money and efforts on KOL and ads directly after 6 months, especially, so have a big boom. And if you're ambitious, you can target on 2 platforms like GD and Tmall, because basically you have more money, so you can basically be on 2 platforms for e-commerce. So I just give an example of this brand. So it's Rossmann and Isana. Rossmann, basically, it's the Watson of Germany, something like that. So it's a pharmaceutical supermarket. And they launched Isana, which is basically a cosmetic brand only for the Chinese market. So it's a healthcare industry. With them, just to give you an idea, with this kind of like plan, they can get 50 million exposure per month. So it means 15 million people that see them every month and always see them and see them and see them. So it brings basically something like 50 million euro turnover on Tmall, something like this on all their products. So with this, you can do really big, like nice social media creative, spend some times, the brand have a real tractions, a real trust. You can really engage with big and good KOL because you have the budget. And you can also do some co-branding. That's, for example, the examples that I do. So co-branding, because when you are big, when you have attractions, it's easy to do co-branding because big brands do co-branding with big brands. So they can, for example, do co-branding with Hire or with the China Joy. China Joy is basically like the a top event for video games, for example. So this is basically what you can get, what basically you can expect if you spend some budget. So this is a year 3 results. So year 1, year 2, it's the same. We're building, but I will not repeat the same things because I think you get it. Yeah, so if you are doing B2B, it's a little bit different approach. Usually for B2B, it means that you are selling a service. If you are selling an expensive, for example, machines, or that you can do also some tourism. And for that, for us, we recommend Baidu SEO plus website because usually you reply to a need. So I just give you an example. If you are selling, I don't know, if you are selling a specific, if you are a travel agency, for example, and you are selling trip to, I don't know, Serbia, for example. Basically, to appear on the keywords travel Serbia, it's strategic. Why? Because everybody want to travel to Serbia, they will search Serbia travel agency, and then you get the leads. And after you get the leads, you can convert them. So website plus Baidu is strategic. If you are a specific machine company and your machine do, I don't know, a specific machine for laser, basically the cutting. If you appear on the keywords laser cutting, it's strategic as well because all the people that want to buy laser cutting, they will search informations and then they compare the different price offer. So they will consult you. So it's strategic. After, we also recommend to spend times on content. So the content can be on Wechat, can be on your website, can be some white book, can be something like this to really give you credibility. It's important to get credibility for B2B. Reputation as well, very important. Number one, to be sure that you are not a cheater, because in B2B, people don't want to be cheated. So many cheaters in China, so it's really important. To know if you are a sales company, if you are good, that's also very important. And also you can spend also 15% on ads. And on ads, I recommend to do like retargeting because usually for B2B it's niche. So I don't know if you are doing laser cutting, for example, your global market is about 1,000 company in China. So, okay, you get them. So when you get one people, you need these people see your message again and again the same time. So it's better to spend like a lot of money on these 1,000 people, and these people will see you, I don't know, 20 times or 30 times, that to basically to spread the message to everybody who are not your target clients. And after, it's about WeChat nurturing, because in this case, B2B, it's your WeChat is a little bit like your emailing. So you just like keep feeding information with your potential clients or your cold leads, people who are not really interested by you or just want to have more information. So WeChat basically is good way. This is an example of one of the company that can do. So they are doing like a specific kind of like machines. So strategy is very simple. We create a nice website, nice looking, showing beautiful picture of basically of the machines. Okay, we rank on the top 20 position of Baidu. So top all the position of Baidu, you appear on the first. You get the quality traffic. You have good reputations. This company get 20 leads per month, which is about 20 inquiry. They can convert 10% or 20%. 10%, they convert 2 clients, which is already very good. And one machine cost 500,000 euros. So yeah, they are making a lot of money and they're happy. Something like that. Usually for B2B, you need to have value. So this is, for example, an example of a media buying or media plan that we do year after year. So it's details of different options, okay, that we have about the website, about the audit, about all what you can do in details. And it's a list of plan, but you can see that the setup always takes time in China. It takes 1 to 2 months to open social media account usually, because you need to give a lot of information, especially for overseas company that are based overseas, don't have business facility in China. It's more complicated, it takes more time. So usually we put 2 months. And after we see the reputation, that takes 3-4 months. So before the reputations, it's time to build, to have people to speak about you in good way. and then after you can go to the activation, so basically spend more basically money. So this is an example of a watch brand that we do for media plan for 2021. So you can see the different basically options, and after at the end it's around 200,000 euro budget, something like that. So you can see also in the different columns, it's really going step by step. So at the beginning you don't spend much, spend 2,000 euro, 5,000 euro, and after when it's really the time for activations, then you basically put more budget to get more visibility. Gentlemen, GMA, we are a medium-sized agency, around 80 marketers. We already have been in the market for 8 years, and I think we have been really active because during these 8 years we get a lot of clients, so a lot of experience. Why usually like clients choose us? It's because we are really a digital player since long time, since 2012. So at the beginning of our agency, we are a digital basically company. So we think digital, we are digital. So that's what usually like people want. They want this at the beginning, and I think even now they still think that that's what they want. Usually our clients choose us because we are more pragmatic. We are really like here to adapt to the reality of the Chinese market. Try to avoid basically all the bullshit and really go directly to the right, to the point. So if you want to be successful in China, you need to adapt. You need to do, and that's basically where we are good at it. And we also result focus. So basically, when we build strategy or when people talk to us, is basically to get results. So it's really like a ROI agency to basically to making money, because what we have seen from so many years, the people, the clients that are basically loyal to us is the people that are able to make money. So basically, when our clients basically are making money, they're reinvesting in what works. Usually is marketing works. So if you want to basically to keep clients to work them for many years, you have to bring your ROI. I think it's the main challenge of agency this year, especially during the COVID year, where basically like all the budget are cut. And you can see a full list of our solutions and services indirectly in our website. You can also make an inquiry in your website. It's basically 100% fine. They will be very happy to consult you if you have any projects. And I think I have finished. So Christina, do you want to speak?
Thanks. I'll just take over the screen. Olivier, that was amazing. I actually learned a lot on the budgeting aspects. And if it's okay, I'm going to bring you in at a couple of the points that I'm going to highlight in the end of this presentation. For the rest of this presentation, I'm going to bring you in to get your opinion on certain things, if that's all right with you.
Perfect.
So guys, that's just a bit of an understanding. So I think now you've got a whole overview about the platforms that exist, the strategies you can create, the budgets you can have, how those budgets are going to be used. But now I want to give you guys an action plan. All right, we're almost at the end of 2021. By Sunday, it'll be the end of January. There's 11 more months in the year. So how are you going to focus your brand strategy for 2021? So what are your current pain points? Now, what I see a lot of is companies don't have alignment. Basically, there's a lot of disagreements within your organizations, and there's no alignment as to the strategy. You know, you are at a stage of not knowing where to start, how to begin. Everybody has a different opinion. And you also have a sense that because of COVID, you can't travel to China, you can't meet people face to face. There's also this feeling of trust issues, loyalty issues, etc. on partners, and it's completely understandable. But what I've done is I've created a tool, and this is the alignment and orientation tool, and it's really to put all of the decision makers associated with your China business strategy on the same page. I'm sure Olivier has had that experience in the past where you know, you talk to a company and everybody is something different. Everybody has a different idea. Everybody has the same strategy. You won't be able to get successful in China if you're not all on the same page. So what I created is this alignment and orientation tool, which is basically a 90-minute workshop. It is a criteria that all decision makers go on this workshop to basically orient you in the right direction and realize what your pain points are, realize what you're good at, and then create an action plan. All right, so if you guys are interested in this tool, please don't hesitate to reach out. But the goal of this is to really get everybody on the same page. The next is, do you have the right ecosystem? All right, you need help. Everybody needs help when they go to China. I needed help when I first started in 2003. I'm pretty sure he had his group of network that helped him to develop his business. Everybody needs help. You can't do it alone. Whether that's having an IP lawyer, having a corporate service provider, having a media agency, having a design studio, having a trusted partner for e-commerce, you need people on the ground that can guide you and support you. Okay, so having this ecosystem is fundamental. I've introduced you guys to 4 different experts from 4 different companies, and we've all provided you with information. Having that first call or having that first inquiry with a company, it's always going to be free of charge, right? Go in and have that first discussion. Olivier and I, as well as all the other experts, we are in a people business. So you've got to like who you're going to partner with. You've got to feel comfortable with who you're partnering with, but you can't understand that level of comfort until you compare. So talk to as many people as possible. The beauty about China is that everybody wants to talk. Everybody is happy to advise. Everybody's happy to give their war stories and experiences. But you've got to develop that ecosystem because just simply you can't do it on your own. You've got to analyze your brand assets, right? You've got to understand what you are going to launch as a brand, and you've got to be able to protect those assets. On Monday, I went into a lot of details about trademark registrations. I went into details a little bit about copywriting and patenting, but I also want to touch on domain. Okay, so actually this is a question for Olivier. Olivier, you talked a lot about website design and Baidu SEO. Which websites are you utilizing? Is it the websites from the home jurisdiction or is it the websites from China or .cn website?
Usually it really depends basically on the company, on the policy, because there is internal discussions. But for us, we advise to have a website host in Hong Kong or Singapore, an independent basically like website dedicated for China, which is independent for the headquarters. And at the beginning to do it in Hong Kong or Singapore because it's easier to operate and it's better. If you want to have a website in China, it's possible, but it's just more complicated. So it takes more time.
Right. So this is another thing. I mean, this is all your assets, right, guys? So Olivier just made the perfect suggestion about having a website and hosted either in Hong Kong or in China. Hong Kong or Singapore. You can also have a website hosted in China, but there are complexities around that. But it's also really easy to just simply register it. So if you want to go to, for example, GoDaddy.com, you can register your domains in Hong Kong, Singapore, or China. You can do it with several pushes of a button. You might need to provide documentation, but just know that wherever you're registering those domains, you can register it from a company located outside China, an individual located outside China, or a company located in China.
Basically, Christina, just to complete a little bit, what is basically the key for a website, basically like is host in China, is to have what is called the Chinese ICP. So it's basically I think, I don't know if you will speak about this.
I will.
Okay, sure. So please.
So just because there was a question on Monday's session related to domain names, right? but a domain name is still part of your assets. So evaluate that as well in terms of where you want to have that hosted, how you want it to be operated, how you want it to be created, how you want it to be designed. And don't forget, domain registration has nothing to do with trademark registration. They are two separate issues. The principle is the same though. It's a first to file principle for both. So whoever goes ahead and registers it owns it. And so the options that you have are either you purchase it, you take the person to court, or you rebrand, okay? But these are all parts of your assets. Olivier mentioned it, you know, requirements for having your own website hosted in or outside of China, the pros and cons. This is all something you have to evaluate, right? Having a website outside of China, you can explain this a little bit better than I can, but ultimately you've got a firewall issue, there might be some slowness, but to actually physically operate it, it's a piece of cake. If you've got a website inside of China, obviously you're on the ground, but you have to follow the licensing regime, which is getting the ICP licenses. And I've highlighted that under business models, which I'm also going to touch on a little bit. So you've got to make this analysis and develop a strategy for that website as well. What story are you going to create in China, right? I loved what Ariel wrote on Thursday on one of her slides, so I'm going to adapt it to here. And she said that many brands have doubts about some of the marketing tactics and strategies that are unique to China. Global strategy doesn't apply to the Chinese strategy. Adapt your brand to China. Go local. Go and create your own China story. Olivier, I'm not sure if you would like to add something on this point in terms of evaluating what your story is for China.
Yeah, I think it's a part of your as you explained before, just to be clear that the brand has the same story and not everybody is taking different things. But yeah, your story it's really important, and I think it will also evaluate with the time. So at the beginning it's something because that's what you believe is good, but later you will discover that actually Chinese people choose you because something else.
The next decision making or action plan you've got to decide on is what platforms are suitable for you. So Olivier has given his opinion. I've summed up what I've learned basically in the last 4 days. Again, I'm not a marketeer, so I'm just pinpointing things that I've taken out. But what you guys really need to do is talk to the marketeers, talk to the people in China that are doing this on a daily basis to analyze, based on your financial resources, what are the best platforms for you to go on, and analyze, you know, what would be your starting points. So here I've just listed for B2B, B2C, based again on the discussions that were happening throughout this week. And I just took out, again, for people just to review the slide from Wendy's presentation of a very small portion of all the platforms that exist. Olivier pinpointed this throughout his presentation. You've got to go niche. So you've got to figure out really what are the right platforms for your niche and how to develop the content that's then going to be posted on that. WeChat, I feel like WeChat is fundamental everywhere. And I actually just sent out an e-campaign today about the importance of having WeChat. There was a bit of a misunderstanding earlier on in the week about WeChat. One aspect is having a WeChat corporate account, and one is also just simply as an individual having WeChat. As an individual, you should probably start by having a WeChat account, understanding the environment on WeChat, understanding the various types of applications on WeChat. I know that people that are abroad, it's not so easy to set up a personal account because you need somebody to verify you. But there are ways, especially if you look at the WeChat Help Center, where you can properly how somebody can verify you and how that can work. Better you're in the same place or next to the individual, but if that's not possible, there are other ways of getting onto WeChat. WeChat corporate accounts, I mean, Olivier highlighted the issues regarding WeChat or regarding social media platforms. If you register them with your overseas entities, it does take a lot longer than if you register it with a local entity. Whether that's WeChat, Weibo, any of the other social media platforms, it's a very similar process. I've highlighted that very briefly here, but again, these are certain things that you need to talk about directly with the marketeers that are on the ground in China, and understand what's the best way for you to, first of all, have control over the accounts, access to those accounts, and then again, what are the right social media platforms? What resources do you have? And again, this is why I wanted Olivier to come on, because you've got to evaluate your financial resources. And this was actually a question that I wanted to ask Olivier. Olivier, you used 20,000 euros per year for B2C and 30,000 euros for B2B. Is that the minimum? I mean, is there a minimum value that you can indicate? I'm not sure if Olivier, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I just say that no, there is no minimum, but I think that if a company need to basically to attack China, one of the biggest market in the world, the most competitive and the most dynamic, I think they should really put time and effort to do something. China is not for small company. It's not for it's not basically a paradise for very small brand and niche brand. So it's you need to be strong in China. So if it is under 20,000 euro, I usually advise to wait more 1 year usually. And for B2B, yeah, you can spend less. For B2B is possible, because it's
Okay.
if it is the more niche you are, the less it costs.
Right. Well, I think the whole point is, and the whole point of my slide here is, you want to create a brand that has a wow effect. So, you know, you don't want to, let's say, have financial resources that are just 5,000 euros to create a subpar brand in China. It's not going to work. And actually, you're going to be wasting 5,000 euros. So you need to really sit down and evaluate your financial resources to understand whether it makes sense for you. First of all, to go into the market, and then what those financial resources are going to give you in terms of a strategy, basically, right? Not only from a marketing side, but also when you look at your supply chain. I think I just spoke with a client this month, actually, where they did fantastic campaigns on their digital marketing platforms. They were getting orders left, right, and center. Do you know what they didn't think about? Having enough stock in China. So they worked so hard on the marketing side of their business, not realizing what would actually come out of it, and they didn't have enough stock to cater to the orders. So you've got to not just look at the financial aspect of everything, the marketing aspect and the brand development, but also if you are going to start getting orders, do you have the capabilities to fulfill those orders? And that's a whole nother level of financial resources that you also have to then investigate, right? Is the stock on the ground? Is it readily available to the consumers or to your B2B clients, right? Again, you want to have that wow effect. And for my client who's up in Tianjin, you know, one of his worries at the moment is that, did that affect his image? Will there be people returning back to purchase product, realizing they didn't get product on time? Okay, so you've got to think about that whole supply chain. In terms of business model, you've got to ask yourselves the questions. Are you going to transact directly from your head office? Are you going to outsource all the functions initially? Do you want to hire people on the ground that are working full-time for you? Do you need to transact locally, i.e., do you need to issue fapiaos locally? That might be more for the B2B side of the business. You need to make this analysis. And there's so many options that are available in terms of business models. You can do it from your home jurisdiction. You can have a distributor. And like Olivier I mean, he highlighted it in that diagram perfectly. Distributors, now that you can't actually meet them face to face, they are going to be looking more online to see your reputation, right? Is there some information on these guys before they consider working with you? Are you going to be outsourcing to a marketing and branding agency? Will you bring out an individual who will be based, from your home jurisdiction based on the ground? Right now with border controls, that might be a bit difficult. Will you hire an individual through a local agent? You don't have an entity yet. Or will you go the route of actually establishing an entity? All right, there are different types of entities that can actually be created. So there are a lot of business model options out there. But I think you have to think about three things: your liability in China, the flexibility of the structure you create, and the marketability of that structure, of that business model. Branding, developing a brand strategy is one thing, but making sure you can, again, fulfill the orders either through a distributor or direct or however you want to do it. You have to think about the whole supply chain when you're starting all of this, okay? I have a simple conclusion, basically. If you're interested in cross-border e-commerce, you're doing it from home. It means that you're generating revenue at home. If you are interested in generating revenue locally and getting fully licensed locally, then obviously you need to have an entity on the ground. So think about that. Also think about the licensing requirements. So the ICP license versus the ICP filing. If you are looking to have a website that is selling products via it, you need to have an ICP license. If you take another route where you're using your website as a showroom, i.e. you can't buy things from it, then you need an ICP filing license. And again, every city in China has a different requirement in relation to that. But just be aware that you do need to have these licenses, and then you might even have to consider licenses for the types of products that you are bringing into China. Food and beverage licenses, getting 3C certifications if you're selling electronic products, etc. So definitely think about that. If you want to have an ICP license or ICP filing, you do need to have an entity in China to be able to apply for those, to apply for that. And I have had cases where clients have used intermediaries to apply for those licenses on their behalf, which has run into issues because of the control aspect, right? So you have to be aware of this as well. How effective is it developing a China branding strategy from home versus in China? Olivier, what is your opinion on that with the new brands that are coming into China?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay. So for me, there is no difference because everything is online. So you can basically like do the same work directly from overseas that in China. Just the process is a little bit different. As you explained, you can do cross borders. You shipping from your country, or when you open an account, it takes longer time because you are based from overseas. But there is no big difference for online branding if you are based in your country or if you are based in China. The difference would be sure that you have the team or the partner to really support you. So if you are, I don't know, a brand and you decide to attack China with like 10 foreigners based on your country, it will be complicated. You need to have people on the ground to really basically help you. So it will be a little bit complicated. But if not, no big difference.
No big difference, right? So, in terms of the business models that you're creating, there are many options that are available, right? The key is knowing what options exist and how you can incorporate them into your China strategy. And my recommendation is always create a phased out plan. Olivier mentioned it in regards to the branding strategy, and I'll use that in terms of business models. In your first year, you can be a little bit more conservative. So doing it from home. And as you see that the business is getting better, you're earning more revenue, it's increasing, you can think about changing that business model, that flexible business model, into something else. But the key is obviously talking to people, get help, discuss your options, and talk to a variety of people that are on the ground supporting you to understand what exists for you, right? The next is, are you patient? The biggest problem with Westerners in China is that they're not patient enough. Obviously the numbers don't help. So the expectations for the Chinese market are obviously very high. We're looking at post-COVID times. China was the only country that grew, one of the biggest countries, you know, we're talking about mature markets that grew. It grew at a rate of 2.3%. The estimated growth rate for 2021 is at 8.2%. I've seen other figures where they're estimating it to be around 6%, but still, wow. And obviously, when you're looking at these statistics, you know, you're looking at dollar signs in your mind, right? But things don't happen overnight. Olivier mentioned that with the VB vitamin company, right? You've got to be aware that there are going to be moments of disappointment. There are going to be moments where you will make mistakes. You've got to be prepared for this and budget for it. And I'm already pre-warning you for that. You should have room in your budgets to realize that there will be mistakes made. Obviously, my goal is to limit those mistakes for everybody by creating these webinar series and getting you guys educated on the do's and don'ts. But you have to make sure you get prepared and network and meet people that can help you, all right? But success won't happen overnight. You've got to strategize properly. You've got to make sure your company is in alignment, and know exactly what you're going to be doing step by step. And be realistic with your expectations, right? This is where a lot of people, again, when they look at the stats associated with China, they're not realistic with the expectations for the Chinese market. And this, again, can cause a lot of issues on the line. So I just want to recap a little bit. You've got to have alignment amongst the decision makers. You've got to build an empowering ecosystem of partners. You got to protect your brand assets, evaluate your China story, evaluate the platforms, evaluate your financial resources, choose your business models, be realistic, and again, be realistic with your expectations. And last but not least, and again, I can't emphasize this more, you have to have alignment amongst the decision makers. This is the biggest thing, this is the biggest issue that I see amongst small, medium-sized brands when they go in. Everybody has their own opinion. And it's difficult to create a strategy when everyone has their own opinion. So get the help and talk to people. I'd love to know what was your biggest takeaway from today. Do let us know what that is. If you want to book a session with Olivier or me, Olivier had his contact details on his slide. Olivier, in the chat section of the control panel, if you can put in your contact details, I will send that out to everybody. So if you can just add that in. And from my side, guys, I will also provide you my details in the question section once we're done with the Q&A. But you will then have the ability to reach out to us, and we'll start the questions. Hold on, let me go through it. Olivier, the first question's for you from Omar, which was, what was the budget for Ethnicraft?
It's a little bit confidential, but the yearly budget for Ethnicraft the first year was between 20,000 euro to 40,000 euro.
Okay. Omar, I hope that answers your question. Astrid has a question. How can a British service-related business get customers or visibility as a startup? How much importance rests on a localized Chinese website for the buying of a service, not products?
What kind of service it is?
Astrid, can you let us know again what service you're in? I think it's education. If I'm online tutoring, I think is what it was.
Okay.
I think it's online tutoring, Olivier.
Online tutoring. Wow, super complicated, super competitive and big market, but you have to find among all of this your niche. And I think with a nice website, good ranking on Baidu, you can find it. If it is tutoring mass market, you are really fighting to get the big one. So it's education. It's English education. It's a really a big market in China. So they really pay well, but you have, I don't know, 10,000 player, 100,000 player. So you have to think about the right angle of attack. And after, like, it's a very complicated question actually. It's too big. I need to have more information. Okay, it's a British services related to business customer visibility. Okay, as a startup. So it's basically English for British service business.
Right.
Localized website of buying
British,
service.
It's a British online tutoring education advisory. Yeah.
So basically, like, I'm Chinese, I need to go to China, and basically this company will advise me to develop my business in the UK, something like that.
No, they are helping students in China with tutoring for English, and I think for other types of examinations that have to happen if they want to go to school in the UK.
Okay, first they really need to find a niche. So if they do that, it is tutoring for small kids, medium one, business people, or it's a tutoring for enter the British university. If they are small, they need to basically to really find their niche first, be good on their niche, and after later they can develop.
Mm-hmm. And would you recommend to have a localized website in China for that?
Of course, of course, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Localized
Astrid,
website.
I hope that answered your question.
Wechat for chat also as well, important.
Right. Astrid, let us know if we answered your question on that. Patrick had a question. I saw a lot of Baidu in the presentation. Could you expand on how it works? Is it similar to Google, or where does it differ?
It's a little similar to Google. Baidu, it's like the Chinese Google. So it's a search engine. Baidu can be good for some everything where basically people might need to search informations, or when people have a problem. For example, like everything is about health. Chinese people are using a lot of Baidu because they are searching for, they have a problem as they're searching for solutions. Hello, I cannot digest. What do you recommend? So people are basically discussing, providing solutions. It can be also good for business because when you are searching something that you don't know and you want to find suppliers, basically you can search on Alibaba for product, but if it's made of service, Baidu can be good. So for some B2B, Baidu is good. For some lead generations, Baidu is good. We are using Baidu as well.
I can compare Baidu to Google. So you create advertising campaigns basically, and I think it's a per click, isn't it a per click rate, Olivier, in terms of payment?
Actually, not really, because this is Baidu ads. Okay. But there is a big problem in China with Baidu ads because, like, Chinese people doesn't trust Baidu ads. There is too many scandals of fake hospital, fake stuff on the ads. So Chinese people are really aware of not clicking on ads, but they prefer to click on the organic results. But I think all of you guys is the same. On Google, people don't click too much on Google ads, but they click on the natural results. So it's organic result. It's called SEO, which is different from SEM or SEA or PPC, whatever you call it.
Right. Patrick had a follow-up question, which was, can you elaborate on the cost level for KOLs and micro-influencers?
Yeah, KOL price expensive, can cost you though between 5,000 euro per post to 50,000 euro. Some big live streamer can take 100,000 euro for one live stream. Just give you an idea. And if you're speaking to a micro influencers, you can all send them the product for free if you are a little bit famous. If not, you can spend like 20 euro, 50 euro, 100 euro for one post.
Right. Patrick, does that answer your question? That was actually the last question that popped in. Guys, if you have any more, let us know. Oh, here's another one. From Andre, other than credibility, what other key benefits are there of having a company WeChat account versus representing a company through a personal account?
So the question is about, can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. What other key benefits are there of having a company WeChat account versus just using your personal account to represent the company?
Yeah, it's like if you are doing business in Europe and you are using a Gmail versus using a corporate company. So you can do both, but with the corporate company, it gives you more credibility. It means that you are more a big company. I think in China, if a company or a brand doesn't have a WeChat account, it's a little bit weird. It's like not having a website, maybe something like that. So it's something that you kind of like need to have, okay? And the WeChat official account is not really like an email or chat way. It's more like a newsletter. That's basically the way you show yourself as a website. Plus, you feed people information with who you are, what you want to talk to your audience. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, and I think are there not limitations also for the company account, Olivier, in terms of how many posts you can make per day?
Yeah, there is different kind of accounts. There is basically like the subscription account where you can post 1 time a day, but I don't recommend this because nobody read the subscription account is going somewhere in WeChat. It's not good. We recommend already to use the service account. Service account, you send a push to people, but you can only post 4 times a month. But
Okay.
people see you. So I don't know, like
Right.
if you're using a subscription account, maybe your open rate would be 1%, 3%. So 1% to 3% of your followers will see your post. But if you're using a corporate account, service account where you send push, the reach will be like 30%, 40%, 50%, something like that.
But it's actually not so much content, because if you can only post 4 times a month, then it's
That's why it's more like a newsletter. You just send a newsletter once a week, not every day.
Right. Andre, did that answer your question? Astrid had a follow-up question. What is the role of micro-influencers, and are they industry segmented? For example, specific ones for the education industry.
Not really, because what is actually a micro-influencers? It's a normal people. So it can be a normal mom, for example. So this mom can one day speak about cosmetics, the next day speak about baby product or education for their kids. So they are like basically normal people. So there is no micro-influencer specialized in basically like one type of industry. The specializations are only valid for big KOL. So the people that are professional influencers, it's an agency, and they basically only will speak about education all the time. So they want to be the key opinion leader in education. That's why we call it key OL. So usually the specializations are more for big one. Hope it's clear.
Olivier, I actually had a question. Is it fair to say that the micro influencers is it like a testimonial?
Yeah.
So you can consider it like a testimonial.
Yeah, it's kind of testimonial.
And Astrid was saying, what's the criteria? So let's back up on that. So do you hire micro influencers? Do you pay them?
Of course, nothing is free in China.
Okay. And what's the criteria, or what's important to ask them before you hire or engage them?
For the micro influencers, it doesn't really matter because you just need to have a quantity of people who have tried your product. So there is no big criteria. Anyway, they are cheap. You only have criteria when you take more expensive influencers who are basically the quality of the audience. If they don't have too much fake, because most of them are fake, but just need to understand how much fake they have, what the quality of the audience, are the audience interactive, and what the credibility of the influencers among this. So for example, if you are taking, for example, a beautiful girls, she has a large audience, but it doesn't mean the followers will buy something just because she's beautiful. But if you are taking, for example, a doctor, his audience is lower, but because he's a doctor, so if he advises you to take this kind of like medicine, most of the followers will buy it because he's a doctor. So his credibility is high, but his visibility is low.
Hmm.
Do I reply to the questions?
Astrid, was that okay for you? William had a question in terms of, is there a minimum following for a KOL?
A minimum what?
Following. I think the question is, in order to be designated as a KOL, do you have to have a minimum following?
Yes, but it really depends on the industry. For example, if you take the KOL in cosmetics, these people have, I don't know, 10 million, 20 million followers. But if you are taking, I don't know, the influencer for something very niche, it has 10,000 followers. Usually, it's really depends on how big is your market and how many people are following this industry.
Right. William, does that answer your question? I think that's, again, we've gone through everything.
But also
We'll wait a
something
couple
that
more
we have
moments.
also seen, it's like it's doesn't really, it's not really the people who have the most followers that is the most influential or making more sales. You have different categories. If the KOL really convinces, if he's really engaging with his audience, if he's on the rise up, if he is not too much commercial, so it's like KOL. It's really matters also on the luck also sometimes.
Hmm. I mean, I think it's also evaluating, you said it perfectly. I think it's also evaluating who is following you, right?
Yeah,
Is that of
evaluating who
quality?
is following you, exactly.
Right. All right. I think we have gone through all the questions. Again, if you guys have anything else you want to ask Olivier and I, just let us know. I have forwarded to everybody in the questions section Olivier's email address. Oh, okay, another question. Sorry, Olivier, they keep coming in. How do we go about getting an ICP license? Can we use this for multiple sites?
It's no, you cannot get an ICP license for multiple sites. You get an ICP license for one website. And basically, like, what is an ICP license? Is basically you apply and you ask the Chinese government to host your website in China. So you need to prove that you're an official business and everything what you do is legal. Plus, you need to give basically a contact information of somebody that you will be basically the the responsible in case of problem.
On the
That's what
site,
is basically an ICP license. So it's one website. Usually it's one people and one basically company. If not, you have to use maybe different domain name. So you can have a subdomain, for example. This is basically okay.
And also, if you look on websites that have ICP licenses, usually when you scroll all the way to the bottom of the site in their footer, they have their ICP license number listed there. And that's how you know they bought an ICP license.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Nothing else more coming in. Guys, if you still have questions, let us know. But we have run over. So just to let you guys know, I haven't posted up the new webinars for February, but we will have a webinar series in the last week of February about market entry strategies into China. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned, subscribe to our newsletter that will be coming out, and the details will be coming out in that. Otherwise, Olivier, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to
Thank
have
you,
you
Lucy,
on.
that receive me.
Thank you. And again, guys, if you want to reach out to Olivier, his details are here. I've posted them into the questions section, so you can also connect with him. Thanks everyone for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy your Friday afternoons, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care and goodbye.
Bye-bye, Christine.